NBA Straya, how are you going? How you going? I hope you're right. You should be. Why is that, Jim? Well, it's Tuesday, January 14. Sure. Why not? I'm your host, James Clements. You can also see my ugly mug on the panel, the official NBL Supercoach podcast, the AFL Today Show, which is back terrifyingly soon, NFL Straya, all the other good stuff. I'm here in Larry Armour Studios. Thought I was going to be in the fancy studio today, but scheduling and the way that the NBA and NFL worked out today was a bit brutal. Either way, here having a good time. This is the usual Tuesday quick show. Just going to fly through the game wraps of today. Not much in the way of Aussies in action, but we've got some updates. Alex Dukas, Dante Exum, an update on Dante, which is pretty good. Talk about the Warriors being a bit of a mess. But either way, we'll fly through the rest of that. We've got That's Not an iPhone, Mate, No Mate, Spud of the Night, Better Than Lonzo Ball very quickly. Some Yeah Nahs, the Unpopular Opinion of the Day, and an Outback Takehouse. I think we're going to Shane Hill shoot, and then we'll pick and preview all the games tomorrow and get out of your hair. Does that sound good? I hope bloody so, because that's how it's bloody well going to go, you hear? All right. Sweet. Let's get into it. This is episode 1185. Whiskey of NBA Straya. Let's go!
This is Josh Giddey.
G'day, this is Andrew Gaze.
This is Jack White.
This is Joe Ingles.
This is Dyson Daniels.
This is Chris Anstey.
This is Matthew Delvedova.
This is Shane Hill.
Hi, this is Ryan Brockhoff.
This is Mitch Creek. This is Mick Kay.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Australia.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening and watching NBA Straya.
This is NBA Australia. Let's do it.
Watch out for the shark attack.
You better watch out for the Wemby attack if you're the Lakers, or the Cade Cunningham attack if you're the Knickerbockers. How about the Jalen Green attack if you're the Memphis Grizzlies? What a fun one. Today was chaos. We'll get into that in a second. Let's start today's show the way we start every show here at NBA Show with the daily. It's a whip around as a gym. Yes. We've got an update on Dante Exum. How good is this? Bit excited. It's been 3 months since he had the surgery on his wrist, and it looks like he could be back soon. Pretty cool. So Jason Kidd had some very nice, encouraging-ish kind of words saying, I think he's shooting threes at this particular moment. There are lots of good things now. We just have to do the re-evaluations on his wrist to see the improvements. I think he's out to the three-point line shooting now. A lot of positives there. It's just a matter of getting to the scheduled appointment to check to see how the wrist is doing and go from there. He's in great shape. He's done a lot of solo workouts. I think he's excited to test the wrist out when he's cleared to do that. So he's not cleared for contact just yet, but he's been doing a lot of individual practices. I think he's so excited to test his wrist when he gets the green light for that. So the surgery back in October 9. Dante, look, without Kyrie, without Luka, they need him desperately. So let's go. 3 months was the sort of timeline that I had floating around from back then. It's now been past 3 months, so let's see what happens. Right, other little bits and bobs. Well, first of all, Ant-Man got fined again, another $50K, and he had to come out and apologise again. He's like, yeah, sorry about this. I've got to stop being a dickhead. It's like, yeah, no fooling. Pretty funny because, I don't know, the footage last time of him like just flipping off people, and you're like, I don't know if that's smart. And he's like, yeah, look, I've got lots of kids that look up to me. I probably shouldn't do that. Their mums and their dads look up to me to be a role model, and I shouldn't do that. It's like, no. What are you doing, you idiot? But in a surprise twist, the bloke has got like about 87 kids already. Might not be that mature. What are you doing, Anthony Edwards? Pull your head in, you dickhead. Players of the week were announced as well. The Souvlaki King, Domantas Sabonis. He only averaged a lazy 22, 20, and 7 on his way to winning that one. And Darius Rucker, Judy Garland, who averaged a lazy 26 and 7 as the Cavs did some winning. Won the Western and Eastern Conference Players of the Week. So that's nice, isn't it? Yes. All right. Let's do some game wraps. Game wraps from the 6-game slate today. Oh boy. The Minnesota Timberwolves smashed the Washington Wizards 120-106, but it wasn't a smashing until late. And a lot of it came about because Ant-Man went, righto, that'll do. I'm going to just start kicking their ass now. And he did. Bit because, I mean, they sort of stuck around and then it took literally a big fourth quarter push for the Wolves to smash them by 14. Would have been a little bit more as well. They're up 16, 17 right at the end, but then a couple of stupid sort of in the last minute free throws, etc. undid it. But 41 for Ant-Man with 7 assists. I don't like passing the ball. He also had 7 turnovers, just saying. So either way, Julius Randle, the 20 and 10. I love it. Anytime you can go up against a team like the Washington Wizards and just put up a 20 and 10 and Julius Randle, you got to do it. 22 for Kuz, 20 for Poole. Wizards 6 and 32. The Wolves 21 and 18. Detroit, they smackerated the Knicks 124-119. That's right. The Detroit basketball Pistons are now 2 games above 500. The Knicks drop a brutal one at home that you think they should win because Cade Cunningham goes off. He had 36 and 4. Malik Beasley couldn't miss from downtown either. He hit the dagger. He has 22, went 6 of 8 from 3. It's just amazing though. Like the thing is, it's like Cade plus shooting, and it just works. Jalen Duren out there, just 10 and 8. Fouls out at the end, but also Thompson causing little bits of havoc. And the Knicks, like Cat was like dealing with like a thumb injury. Still had 26 and 12, but had 6 turnovers. 31 and 11 for Jalen Brunson. 27 for Mikal Bridges. And it's like, yeah, you couldn't keep up with the Pistons. What is going on? The Knicks are 26 and 15. Detroit are 21 and 19. And the Knicks just need that sort of like that one extra dude off the bench they can trust. Like Sham Wells playing 4 minutes, not good enough. Miles McBride, aka Deuce, he had 3 points in 17 minutes, hit 1 of 2 from downtown. Cam Payne took 7 shots, went 3 of 7. Precious played 10 minutes, and that is it. It's just putting a lot of pressure on your top 5, isn't it? Anyway, and the Pistons, love them, 21-19. Then you had Golden State give up the ghost against Toronto because Chris Bobby Boucher smashed him in the fourth quarter. He had 17 points. It was insane. Someone help out that Steph Curry. 104-101, the Raptors win their 9th game of the season. They're 9 and 31. As I mentioned yesterday, they had lost 5 on the trot, and they had won 1 of their last, I believe, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They'd won 1 of their last, 16 games. So, yeah. Great job, Golden State. They didn't have Draymond, Golden State, but at the same time, come on. The Raptors are the Raptors. What are we doing here? Steph, he managed 26. He also took a 3 late where you're like, oh, geez, I feel like he rushed that. And kind of cost him. 20 for Andrew Wiggins, proud Canadian. Dennis Schroeder, I'm Drummond Rondo, has turned back into Dennis Schroeder, which is good to see. 12 points on 12 shots. 3 of 13 for Buddy Hield. He was horrible. They shot under 40% as a team. 14 turnovers, equaling that of Toronto. And Toronto, hold on, because they had what? Despite a pretty meh RJ Barrett game, Scotty Barnes, 23, 8, and 6, 13 and 13 for Teenage Mutant Yucca Purtle. Big win for the Raptors out of nowhere, 9 and 31. Warriors, now under 500, and don't have their young dudes, like Johnny Kuminga. Podziemski's out at the moment as well. Moses Moody can't hit a shot, so that's a wasted pick. No Draymond, he's out injured. And Buddy Hield can't hit the side of a fucking barn. So Steph Curry's like, what am I doing here? This sucks. Anyway, tough one. Memphis-Houston was an absolute rip snorter. This game was insane. Loved it. Jalen Green puts up a career high 42, equal career high. An amazing comeback win as well. Memphis are up by 13. They're up at 12 with 8 minutes to go. Boom, 16-2 run from the Rockets. Steve Nuttams Brew passing these absolute bloody dimes to their Thompson. What is it? Amen Thompson. He was crushing it. You've got Şengün, LP Şengün. He had 17, 8, and 5. You had Fred VanVleet lacing a 3 late where you're like, yeah, he was always going to hit that. That kept them right in it because they nearly gave up the ghost after getting the lead. They nearly gave it up again. Memphis there's a bad turnover from Ja right at the end, capping off a 29, 4 assist, 4 steal, 7 turnover night for him. 4 of 11 from 3, 11 to 24 from downtown. Desmond Bane had 25 as well. I've got his jersey now. Bloody love that. They were wearing the throwbacks too. He was wearing the jersey that I've got. It's bloody beautiful. Triple J 17, but Memphis, they can't get by the Rockets. This is 2 and 3 in the West, don't forget. And the Rockets are incredible. That is a big, good win. Cam Whitmore had 16 off the bench. Amen Thompson had an incredible stat line. 19, 13, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 5 blocks. I'll talk about him again in a second. Good win for the Rockets. 26-12. Grizzlies 25-15. Tough one. Then we had the two LA teams hosting 2 games in LA amidst all the worries about the fires there. And the Lakers were absolutely dominating this game. And then they got their heads kicked in, 126-102. Geez, Jim, what happened? Well, they lost by 24 because they got outscored by 24 points in the fourth quarter. That's right, this was tied going into the fourth. It was 89-89 thanks to Keldon Johnson's big bucket. They were down. Massive. It was a 10-0 run from the Spurs just to get back into it. And then they kicked their bloody heads in down the stretch, didn't they? Wemby ends up with 23, 8 and 5 with 3 steals and 2 blocks. Devin Vassell, 23. Stephon Castle, 23. You got 10 from Keldon Johnson. And there was a moment, I think it was like 96-93. And you're like, this is pretty, like this is early in the fourth. And Chris Paul just laced his second 3. He ends up with 13 and 10. And you're like, hang on, they're up by 6. This could be a worry. And then they just proceeded to curb stomp them the rest of the way. AD ends up with 30 and 13. But Rui Hachimura had 9, 7 of 11 shooting for 18, 5 and 8 for LeBron James. Austin Reeves only managed 12 and 4 of 13 shooting. It was just a Barry Crocker shocker. 1 to 7 for Cam Reddish. Max Christie, fine. But geez, 19 turnovers is really what killed the Lakers. And boy, howdy. That was a bad, bad loss. To be tied 89-89 to lose by 24 is an embarrassment.
The Lakers stink!
20 and 17. The San Antonio Bandera Spurs, 19 and 19. And then finally, the Clippers ran roughshode over the Miami Heat. This was another weird game where the Heat had really come to play. Like, they were awesome from the get-go. It was a 35-point first quarter from the Heat. They managed 13 in the second. The thing for the Clippers, they only managed 15 in the second and 28 in the first quarter. So the Heat was still up at the half. And it was like, here we go. And then the Clippers absolutely just choked the living shit out of them in the third quarter. Went bang! 36-point third quarter to 20, and they just ran from there, 109-98. This is Tyler. There goes my heroes team at the moment, 32, 11, and 7 for him. Jaime Jaquez managed 10 and 5, and like 19 and 13 for Clell Ware. But just so very little else. Like Terry Rozier, 11 on 10 shots. It's just brutal. But they needed more from Duncan Robinson. Nikola Jovic had an absolute mare. He ends up 1 of 10. Really liked a bit of Jovic in that going into that game. He'd been playing really, really well. That was a shocker. They shot under 40%, 15 turnovers, absolutely brutal. Whereas the Clippers, they got 29 from Norm, who is legit. Norm Powell is just legit. James Harden had 26 and 11. They got 21 and 20 from Zoobs and Kawhi. Played 21 minutes. His customary 21 minutes had 6 and 5. Nothing sus, nothing weird going on here. He's just working his way back. Okay. Clippers now 21 and 17. Heat lose. They're 20 and 18. Right, let's do it. That's not a knife. Old mate, no mates, and all that gear. Let's do it.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Ant-Man's 41. Jalen Green's 42. Take your picks. Jalen Green was awesome with his equal career high. He shot 13 of 18, 5 of 6 from 3. But Cade Cunningham, going into the New York City Knickerbockers of New York City and putting up 36 points on them with 4 assists, 2 turnovers, it was incredible. He went 14 of 27 from the floor, 4 of 8 from 3, and they just took it to the Knicks. Cade Cunningham is taking a bit of a leap, and you should be paying attention. This Pistons team, I've been yelling about it all year, right? They're just kind of a bit fun. They're a bit janky. They're a bit fun and a bit weird, and I kind of love them. Who was Spud of the night?
Spud. It is Spud of the night.
Plenty of Spuds. Moses Moody, 0 of 6. Jovic, as I mentioned, 1 of 10. That was not... God, it was not fun. Buddy Hield, 3 of 13. 3 of 12 for the never new Tobias Harris. And I think we got a couple of the special numbers, didn't we? Oh, yes, mate. We got Dante Exum. What did he do? Oh, he just went and shot a pretty happy Shield. Woo! That's right. He shot 311 from downtown, did Dante Exum, which is always good to see. And I always do appreciate it. So don't ever think that I don't. We also, I believe, got a 311 from Dylan Brooks. Shield! Woo! Thank you, Dylan Brooks. A couple of 311s. I haven't had to play it for a little while. I'm just stoked to play it. That's awesome. That's some spuds right there, though. Bit of old mate, no mates.
Old mate, no mate.
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 Who's got no mates today? Ant-Man. $285,000. What's that, Jim? Is that, I don't know, how much he's put aside for his kids' education? That'll be about a year at this point, I reckon. No, that's how much he's been fined this year. $200K for profane language, $85K for obscene gestures. Ant-Man might be just a bit of a fucking idiot. Seriously, $285,000. You've been fined $200K because you can't stop swearing. Jeez, Jim. Glass houses, shush. Settle down. $85K for obscene gestures. $85,000 because you keep flipping people off because you're a fucking moron. That's incredible. Let's see what happens now. Joe Ingles has got to put him in a headlock and go, just give me $285,000. I'll stand next to you and slap you over the back of the fucking scone every time you do something stupid. I'll do that. Shit. Fuck Joe Ingles. He's already got money. Just hire your mate Jim on. I'll be the Ant-Man bloody keeper. That'd be good. Pantsing of the night. Tough one for the kid who was wearing the Steph Curry jersey courtside. They after the Raptors beat them, they made him take the fucking jersey off and gave him a Raptors one. That's good job, Toronto. So yeah, support this 9-31 shit team versus a generational talent. Better than Lonzo Ball? Could it be LiAngelo? It probably should be LiAngelo. Let's do that.
Lonzo was the best player in high school. He was the best player in college. You think he'll get to the pros and be like, I made it to the pros, now I can be average. We're coming for everybody.
No longer the shittest of the balls, maybe. LiAngelo Ball has signed a deal with Def Jam. Def Jam Universal, so it's worth as much as $13 million because he's his song Tweaker, if you've listened to it. It's pretty good. $8 million guaranteed. Gives LiAngelo full ownership of his music and his own label. And he's got a second song behind Tweaker that's about to come out. So, not bad. LiAngelo Ball, better rapping than Lonzo. Just saying, sucked in. Also, All-Star Thompson today. 19 points, 13 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and 5 blocks. He's the first second-year player to do that since Josh Smith in 2006. That is bloody good. And I just want to do a really quick Magic tweet of the week because this one was just an absolute all bloody timer. I love him, but I mean, sometimes you just got to go, yes, put this in the Louvre. Even though we're in Tampa, Cookie and I are still praying for everyone in LA. Thanks, Magic. Even though you're in Tampa. Fucking weird. Such a weirdo. I love it. All right, let's do some yeah-nows right after this.
This is Cam Glidden.
This is Anthony Drimmick.
This is Mitch McCarron.
This is Jason Kadee.
This is Darryl McDonald.
Hey guys, this is Hugh Greenwood.
Yo, what's going on? This is Illy.
This is Mark Worthington, or commonly known as Wortho, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA
And you're listening to
Straya.
NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
And you're listening to NBA Straya.
You're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, let's do some quick yeah-nows for today. I kind of want to use some more. We've got some good listener ones here. I want to sort of like flesh them out on tomorrow's show, but I'll quickly hit on them now, get you thinking about them so you can throw them back at me. Brett Pierce, Bretty Poo. Got one for you, big dog, for when the show's back. The reserve ref should be the one that does all of the video reviews. Have them set up on the scorer's table with everything ready to go so there's less of a delay. Yeah, nah, I feel like we don't even need, fuck yes. I feel like the reserve ref should be doing way more than they already are. Like, I feel like they should be just going, nah, change that. You got that wrong. If you want to cut down on delays and shit, and so we're not fucking having to go to challenges and have some dude fucking staring at a monitor the entire time, they got a dude sitting there. Just fucking put him to work. That's a great call, Brett P. Love that. His other one was also in a way to expand the All-Star game idea of US versus World. So my other one the other day was US versus World. We go East and West, and you've got current-ish kind of players like Chris Paul, Patty Mills as your coaches, etc. But you have your East-West US World teams, right? And so, like, as I sort of said, in the East, you could have, like, the world could be Zinger. Extreme Zinger meal.
Extreme Zinger meal.
Giannis, Franz, Dyson, Karl Anthony Towns, OG, Giddy, whatever you want, right? And USA could be Dame, Donnie Mitchell, Paul George, Tatum, Embiid, etc. Out West, you could have Jokic, Wemby, Luka, SGA, Kyrie. Love that. USA could be AD, LeBron, Durant, Ant-Man, Steph. It's pretty good. Brett Pierce's idea, though, is pretty good as well. Expand it. If they can have more games due to silliness, you could have 4 teams. US, Europe, Africa, rest of world. It's not bad. I think rest of world gets a bit screwed because it's basically just Australia. Like, there's not a giant amount of the other blokes out there who aren't rest of world that aren't like Australian or from like US or aren't from Europe or Africa. So it gets a bit tough. Like, we don't have a Yao Ming, you know what I'm saying? Like Rui Hachimura. Japanese, definitely not like a stature where you're like, that's definitely like Wemby. Right? Even Africa, like, if they can go back and like claim Embiid and go, right, Cameroon, cool. And you've got Siakam. You've got a pretty interesting team, but yeah. I just think we're going to hit this All-Star weekend in about a month, and everyone's just going to think this is fucking stupid. Lukey F had a good one too. Yeah, nah, Hawks games are hard to watch because 4 of 5 of the starters have got the same haircut. Yeah, nah, yes. He sent that one to me like in the at the end of December, and I was just like watching a bunch of Hawks games, and I'm like, God damn it. I know which one's Dyson's because he's got arms coming out the bloody wazoo. Everybody else, you're like, I'm like, if I don't have my glasses on, I'm fucking squinting. I'm like, who was that one? Was that Jalen Johnson? Yeah, sick. Good. Pretty good call. Good one, Lukey F. And then finally, panic stations in Golden State. Yeah, nah. I think this is kind of my unpopular opinion of the day, kind of. And it sort of goes back to the Outback Takehouse, so it's all sort of wrapped into one.
Now look at me, please. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me.
And we're just going to the Outback Takehouse as well, bloody hell. It's Tuesday at Outback. You know what that means? I'll tell you what. Took both the squids, one dropped off, the other one came home with me, and I'll tell you what, he was just stoked. Because we found a couple of bloody magpies and whacked them to death with the bloody cricket bats. Bit of backyard cricket. Also put dinner on the table. That's right, magpie wings, and they're only at Outback. Today's Flame Grilled take is Golden State are in desperate need of help. And there's one bloke that Steph Curry and Draymond Green have played with before that fits that team perfectly. And Phoenix are fucked. So maybe Kevin Durant for Johnny Kuminga. Andrew Wiggins. A couple of picks. Let's do it. KD back to Golden State. Only at Outback. If there's something that you should probably learn from the Miami experience right now with Jimmy Butler as well, right, is aging stars who haven't signed an extension can get a bit fucky. Maybe you should trade them before shit goes completely wonky so you get a half-decent return. Let's send KD back to Golden State. Nice. Just saying. And speaking of, we'll do, what are they, Bloomin' Onions on Thursday's Outback Takehouse. But I feel like someone sent me a photo of like there's the silver, what is it, the Silver Stream, bloody, is that right? Those caravans. And there's one, like one of the food trucks down in Lorne. They do the burgers. And they do Bloomin' Onions. And I'm like, I will slap them fucking silly next time I'm down there. Or at least ask them politely what the fuck's going on with that Bloomin' Onion. You know what I'm saying? All right, quick Australian player watch. Right after, let's hear from Hammer.
This is Shane Heal, and you're listening to NBA Straya.
All right, time for the NBA Straya Australian Player Watch for Tuesday, January 14, all day, I believe. Nailed it. Either way, we only had 2 Aussies in action today, and neither of them got on the court. That was Jinglin' Joe Ingles in the Wolves' beatdown of the Washington Wizards. It was a 121.06 after getting on the court for 1 second the other day and posting a massive plus minus. There you go. No Jinglin' Joe Ingles on the court, and the same goes for the big rock'em sock'em block'em Jock'em Landale down there in Houston. And you can actually see why, as Jock Landale didn't get on the court, because Steven Adams was awesome for the Rockets down the stretch. Our big anti-Padian noober. Because, look, he was going up against one of his old teams in Memphis, and that Rockets-Memphis game was absolutely awesome. But still, no Jock. Just saying. Hashtag free Jock. What do we reckon? Yes. A couple of other little bits and bobs, though, from today. We have Dante Exum on the comeback trail. That's right. Jason Kidd, coach of the Dallas Mavericks, was out there saying, yeah, he's out there shooting threes. No contact yet. We're going to have a look to see how it responds. That's great news for Dante, the forgotten man in that Mavs rotation, especially without Luka and Kyrie at the moment. Tell you what, they could use him. The other one is, of course, Alex Dukas yesterday hit his first NBA points. Smoked a 3. That was awesome and got everybody so hyped on that Oklahoma City Thunder bench that they got a tech. That's right, they got so hyped for Alex Dukas' first NBA points, an insane falling over 3 BT dubs, that they got a tech. They ran on the court to celebrate. SGA was like, oh, my bad. Dukas got a nice big smile on his face. It was lovely to see. And the last little bit of news, Ben Simmons, he's out there saying the quiet bit loud. He was quoted as saying, I know this is kind of like a rebuild situation, but we've got to go in there like we want to win regardless of what the front office is expecting. Ben, you're tipping your hand, mate. What are you doing? You should be on the good side of the front office, just saying. But either way, that is the Australian Player Watch with NBA Straya. We are back daily in podcast form. All right, there you go. That's Australian Player Watch. How about a Shane Hill shoot your shot, light 'em up award?
He threw it down. Are you healed? Are you healed? Praise the Lord, I'm healed.
Praise the Lord, for I'm healed. It is the Shane Hill
Shooters shoot.
Shoot your shot, light 'em up award. Oh, yes, it is. It really is. Klay Thompson just went past 16,000 NBA points, which is obviously a lot. But I did absolutely love his sort of response to that, right? He's like, you know what's also nuts is the fact that LeBron's got 40,000 of the bloody things. And you're like, huh, that's a really good point. Right? Like, it is like just, it's so many points. And so I guess you sort of look at it and like 16,000 is like pretty good. And if you look at the all-time scorers, like 16,000 is, you know, puts you up there. But you're not really even sniffing like the top 25. So 16,000, you'd be like, yeah, that's pretty good. But just imagine having another 24,000 points. Sort of just puts your mind into just exactly how good LeBron has been and for how long. But 16,000 for Klay gets him 129 all time. Amazingly enough, that is behind Jrue Holiday, Vooch, and Mike Conley. So Klay Thompson, how many years did he bloody miss for all the stupid fucking injuries? That sucks, doesn't it? But anyway, there you go. Still, he shot the piss out of it, got to 16,000. It's interesting to see Michael Thompson is actually on there at 12,810, down to 246 all time. So Klay at least did better than his old man. Which is pretty good. But all-time leaders, I mean, at least for threes, right? Like, if we have a look at the list, Steph's obviously at 3,882, which is just absurd. But the three-pointers, Klay is fifth all-time, 2,585. That is just incredible. So he's ahead of Reggie, who was in sixth. LeBron's behind him as well. And he'll get caught at some point, but bloody hell. He's only trailing Dame, Ray Allen, Harden, and Steph. And it's amazing how big Steph is ahead of everybody. He's like 850 ahead of James Harden, so not bloody bad. All right, that was a good chat. Just talking about Clay being pretty bloody good. Let's do a Paddy Mills Game Day Ball or Game Day Twitter check-in. What else has Paddy been up to? He's been a lot more active on the old socials of late, which is nice. And there's there we go. There's a nice post. Good to see you, mate. And he says, grateful for my time spent with this gang. Appreciate the love, culture, fist bump emoji. And it's him hanging with all these Miami mates. Oh, isn't that nice? Good job, Paddy. All right, let's do a game previews and picks. Game previews. Thanks, Inadvertent Bane. Not a problem, Jim. How's it all going? Oh, yeah, pretty good. Bit rushed today. Not a surprise. Tomorrow we have some pretty interesting games. I think we've got 7 total. Is that right? Yeah, 7. Let's have a look and see if some of these lines have moved a little bit. I think they will have. We have OKC at Philly. That game is awesome. OKC are 10.5-point favorites, however, against the Sixers. In Philly. It just seems like a lot, right? But OKC just curb stomp teams. So maybe, just maybe, the best team in the West is probably a little bit better than, the 11th team in the East. So I'm going to go OKC minus 10.5. We then have Cleveland. Cleveland go to Indy, which is a really fascinating game. That's a 7.5-point underdog at home, Indy. And I kind of want to go Indy because Cleveland just lost to them. And even if Cleveland sort of turn around and beat Indy, I think in this game, I think Indy at home will put up a pretty good fight. They won't catch Cleveland sleeping again. Cleveland have been absolutely awesome, but I think it should be a close-ish kind of contest. So let's go Indy plus 7.5, but the Cavs to probably win that one. Phoenix versus Atlanta. That is a fascinating one too. So Phoenix visit Atlanta. You got Kevin Durant, Brad Beal coming at the bench, Booker playing okay. The Hawks, as I mentioned on the standings check-in yesterday, the Hawks have just been very, very, very all over the shop. Very scrappy. Again, inconsistent. They lost to the Suns just the other day by 8. I'm going to go the Suns again here, the 3.5. Minus 3.5 for the Suns. I just think they're a little bit better. The Hawks' size usually would sort of like give you pause. But when they played in Phoenix the other day, you had Clint Capella have 10 and 11. You had Onyeka Okongwu would have 8 and 5, and that was kind of it. So Risa Shea, without Jalen Johnson, they just didn't have much of a chance. So I'm going to go the Suns again. Let's go the Suns minus 3.5. We also have New Orleans, Chicago, which is a pretty interesting one. The Pelicans are only 1.5-point underdogs. Which is one of those ones where you're like, that assumes that Zion is back and playing. Kobe White, I think, was out for the Bulls as well. Torrey Craig's out for a couple of weeks as well. So Lonzo is now back as the starting point guard for this Bulls team. So Lonzo, Levine, Gids, Vooch, and Patch. I kind of maybe prefer the Pelicans at the moment. Like, the Bulls can score with anybody, but the Pelicans are getting that little bit healthier now that they got Zion back. He sat his game out. They pushed the Celtics all the way. Zion had 16, 7, and 5 steals in that game. You've got CJ, you've got DeJounte. Trey Murphy's like lacing him. Pelicans on the road, though, for another game. Ugh. I can't trust either of these teams. Screw it. We're going to go the Pelicans. It seems a little bit more fun. Who on that team is going to slow down Zion? Let's go the Pels, plus 1.5. Milwaukee take on Sacramento. Ooh. Another fun game. What is that line? That is now currently 2.5-point favorites are the Bucks. So much of this will hinge on whether or not De'Aaron Fox is back, right? So the Pelicans... the Kings are riding pretty high on a 7-game win streak, having beaten the Bulls, the Celtics, the Heat, the Warriors, the Grizzlies, the Sixers, and the Mavs. Can they take down the Bucks as well? That's a big ask. Let's have a look at the injury report. Malik Monk, game time decision. If Fox is good, I actually don't mind the Kings to keep up the win streak. fast guards and perimeter defense. That's a problem for the Bucks, and I'll tell you what, that's what the Kings have got. So let's go the Kings, plus 2.5 in Milwaukee. Denver, Dallas. This would have been really, really fun if both teams were healthy. Denver have been playing, they got Aaron Gordon back the other day. They got a much-needed win. Denver have just sort of, they've won 3 on the trot. They beat the Clippers and the Nets. They beat this Mavs team just the other day by 11. Rusty and Jokic, I think they can do it again. The Mavs are probably just that little bit too banged up still. It's only a 4.5-point line for the Mavs. For the Mavs being an underdog. I'm going to take the Nuggets minus 4.5 on the road in Dallas. Could get a massive Jokic game. And then we finish off with Portland hosting Brooklyn. The Blazers are 5.5-point favorites at home. That probably won't happen too many more times this season. I'm going to take Portland minus 5.5. This Nets team is just a horror show. Cam Johnson, I think, is out at the moment. Box Hill Benny did come back. We mentioned that on the Australian Play Watch yesterday. They lost that overtime game against the Jazz. I think the Blazers are a little bit better than the Jazz, so I'm going to go the Blazers at home. See what happens. Because this Nets team in that Utah game started Zaire Williams, Noah Clowney, who's been really good, Nick Claxton, solid, Box Hill Benny, and Keon Johnson. So Cam Johnson's dealing with an ankle. No D'Lo. We're going to go Portland. They should be a little bit too good. Between Shaden Sharp, Anthony Penny Simons, whichever big they've actually got out there, they should be too good. And there you go. That's a bunch of picks for tomorrow. We'll be back on deck to wrap all that up for you. Maybe from the fancy studio? We'll see what happens. We don't have a producer at the moment, so we'll see how I go setting that all up. But either way, in the meantime, make sure you're following NBA Straya on Twitter, FaceIG, TikTok, and of course YouTube. We're back doing the morning drop-off picks as well. If you go to Dabble and if you go to the links that we've got on our stories and stuff, and if you're of that persuasion, you can follow along my picks on Dabble, copy them, etc., and go hammer and songs. But click through the links, use the code NBA Straya. Go find that link if that's your vibe. Get around NFL Australia with myself and Gaz. We just taped the show earlier. It is a cracker about week 1 of the NFL playoffs. So if that's your vibe too, go check that out. It'll be up on YouTube and on your podcast apps very soon. So chuck a rating review on your Apple Podcast, your Spotify, YouTube Music, all that good stuff on your Apple or your Android device, whatever you need to. Rate, review, and star it. I don't want to have to fight you, but I will. Make sure you're getting around the AFL Today Show, the Cricket Today Podcast, Football Today Podcast, and hold all tickets as well. Plenty of stuff coming up. And get around the Supercoach and the Supercoach show that we have. NBL Supercoach show. That's just on the NBL Media podcast feed. Or on YouTube. You can see me and Kels. And I think we've got Mick this week. That'll be fun. Big thanks always go to From Oslo for the intro and outro song They Rule. So do House Hats, Joshua De Laurentiis, Fascinating, Gold Mines, Ramshack Alami, Iowa, Sex Shadow, Green, and Dozers. There behind all the tunes you hear on the show. Smash on them all on Bandcamp, Triple J and Earth, Face Apple Music, Spotify. Remember, NBA Straya supports Australian bands, so should you. And that is it for today. I've got to run. I've got a bunch of stuff that I've got to, edit, cut, put up. I've also got my family I've got to see at some point, so see what happens. All right. We will catch you tomorrow, you dickheads. This is NBA Straya saying, look after yourselves, would ya? And little Hosanna!